Everybody, just going to give some people some time to get on in. Welcome to the Sunday Night Wonderful World of Generation X, your weekly dose of all things Generation X, when a bunch of us misfits, Goonies, rejects from the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s get together and talk about all things Generation X. About an hour in time when you guys get to decide what we talk about, whether it is, I don't know, what cartoons, what did I make in videos this week, Saturday morning cartoons, or MTV, whether it's the clothes we wore, or the music we listened to, or the movies we watched. This is where we get to talk about all of it, and you can catch it live every Sunday night at about 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm not the most punctual person on the face of the earth, but you can catch it both on YouTube and on Facebook. I stream on both. Speaking of Goonies, Andrew Bradford is in the house. Deb German, what's going on? How are you? Good to see you. Christine, hello. The race is on. Facebook is filling up. YouTube is starting to fill up. Everything's good. How's everybody doing? Everybody have a good week, I hope. Doing well on my end. Been a good weekend. Fast. They go faster and faster and faster. Brian Hunter, hello. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Thank you for being a subscriber. Appreciate you, bud. If you see a little badge like Deb's got or Brian's got over on the Facebook side of things, that means that they are willing to part with 99 cents a month over on Facebook to give them access to cool badges and emojis and access to our private subscriber-only room over on the Facebook side. What's going on, Brian? Joining in over on YouTube, I've got Kevin Pierpoint. What's going on, my friend? Tony Vasquez, hello. Kevin reminds us that we have an American Pope now. Took us long enough. Hey, from Chicago, no less. So maybe that'll give my Cubbies the leg up we need. Tina, hello. Super Dave coming in from West Texas, Roughneck. Appreciate you, Deb. Deb posts there constantly for me. If you want to check out some cool things from the 80s, if you want to see some of my inspiration, where it comes from, that private subscriber-only page over on Facebook, we chat, we talk, we all show things, we all throw pictures up there. That's where a lot of the stuff comes from. What's going on, Robin Ryder, Dale Wan, Jody O'Brien? Sometimes I feel like that chick from Romper Room. I see TR, I see Plays, I see the Throw Fam. Are we watching a great Disney movie? Well, it is the wonderful world of Generation X. It's not by mistake that we took this time slot, because 8 p.m.-ish Eastern time on a Sunday night is a pretty special time slot for Gen Xers. It's when we all huddled on the floor, right? It was the end of the weekend. At least during the school year, it was that last bastion of we've got some time before going back to school. We sat Indian style on the floor on the shag carpet. We had our popcorn Jiffy Pop in hand. Dale Wine, thank you for the stars. Plays coming in from France. Bonjour. It was amazing. I loved that time in my life, that time of the week. The Mutual of Omaha, Wild Kingdom was on. Your mom may or may not have made you watch Lawrence Welk. That was on. For me, Star Trek, the original series, was on syndication on Sundays. And then, Wonderful World of Disney. Just, you never knew what was going to be on there, whether they were going to play an old movie like Old Yeller or Shane, or if they're going to pull something out of that much vaunted Disney vault, and we'd watch that kind of thing. I'm doing well, Heather Parker. How are you? David Cox, hello. Mike, what's going on? I remember Sock and Boppers. Yeah, do you guys know the story with Sock and Boppers? Some people tell me that it's a Mandela effect, that it says Soccer Boppers up there instead of Sock and Boppers. It used to be Sock and Boppers. They got sued by Rock'em Sock'em Robots and had to change their name. Brian coming in from beautiful Southern California. How do I turn on Super Chats? I don't know. I don't know. I just know that every now and then somebody will throw one up there on YouTube. If somebody that's used them wants to let them know, I I really don't know. I appreciate you wanting to know. Don't forget about Animal Kingdom with Lauren Green. I love Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, though, because there was always two guys, right? There was Marlon, what was his name? Marlon Perkins? Was that his name? And he was sat back. He sat in studio. What's going on, Ray? He was far from the action, safe, sitting there, camera on him, I presume in air-conditioned glory, and Jim. Jim was the guy on the front lines. Jim was the one diving into the snake pit. Jim was the one trying to defang the cobras, swimming with the sharks. Marlon, hey, Tammy, send him everywhere. And I always used to joke that Marlon knew that Jim had slept with his wife, and this was his revenge. He was slowly going to find a way to get his vengeance on poor Jim. What's going on, Jane from Texas? Bill DeMarco, good to see you, brother. Kevin says, click the $, donate a minimum of $2 and type your message. The higher the donation, the more words you can type for a super chat. I didn't know that. Guys, I really appreciate it. You guys take the subscriptions and the donations to the next level. Traveling more and more and more this year. For those that don't know, I will be in Dallas at the end of this month for 3 days at the Fan Expo. And the list of people there, dude, it's off the hook. Give me a second. I'll just run through. But a couple things I want to say about when I go to these places. Number one, it's really important for you guys to understand something. And I think the people that join us on our lives get it. Some people don't get it, though. When I'm meeting with Dean Cain and taking a picture, I'm not excited about seeing Dean Cain as per se. Hey, what's going on, Maddie? I see you, buddy. Or his current political beliefs. When I'm taking a picture with John Schneider, I'm not taking a picture with John Schneider and his political beliefs. John Cusack and the things that he puts out on Twitter, I could care less what these people put out there today. When I take a picture, when I get excited about seeing these guys at conventions, it's not about who they are, today or otherwise. It's about seeing Lane. It's about seeing Superman. It's about seeing Bo Duke. It's about meeting the living, breathing representations of memories that I have of growing up. So I can only say this as bluntly as I know how, because nicely doesn't work. I don't need to know what people think of their current political innovations, their current political thoughts or opinions. I really don't care. I'm excited to meet Michael J. Fox because Back to the Future was an incredible part of me growing up. And if he supports one party or the other today, that doesn't change 15-year-old me enjoying it. And the fact that some people ruin the memories they had growing up because these guys may espouse a political ideology different than your own, you can choose to let it go or you can choose not to let it go. That's your choice. I'm not saying you have to let it go. You don't have to let it go. But I promise you, the more I see people start being hateful in my comments, I don't know if it's Gen X or not Gen X, but you'll get blocked. This is about celebrating yesterday and pulling the best of yesterday into today. There's enough crappy crap going on in the world today. There's already enough people complaining about things today. So this page is about taking the best of yesterday and bringing it into today and being really happy about it. So that's all I'm going to say on that. So if you hear a guest and you know their political ideology and I don't care. But May 30th, May 31st, June 1st, I will be in Dallas at Fan Expo. Not getting paid. It's just I'm going there. They're kind enough to give me a pass. But they're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Back to the Future. And I'm hoping I'll be able to stream some content for you guys to see from the panel. But Michael J. Fox is going to be there. John Cena, Mr. T, David Boreanaz from the Buffy Vampire Slayer, Anthony Daniels, who played C-3PO at Star Wars, John Boyega, also from the newer Star Wars, Christopher Lloyd, Huey Lewis, Elizabeth Shue, Seth Green, Heather Graham, Christina Ricci, Alicia Silverstone, Parker Posey, John Rhys-Davies, the guys from Smallville, Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, Frank Grillo, Tom Wilson, who played Biff, Leah Thompson, Steve Guttenberg from Police Academy is going to be there. Who else? Heather Locklear, Rob Schneider, Jennifer Beals, Dick Benedict, also from the A team, is going to be there with Mr. T, Brecken Meyer, Priscilla Presley. Dude, these just names that to kids today probably wouldn't mean anything. But as I read off those names, I'm reading off memories, and to see those people in front of me are just going to be amazing. What's going on, Sheila? I see you, honey. Hey, Wirehead, good to see you. Really, really, really. Happy to see Steve Gutenberg. He seemed pretty cool guy. He did some pretty cool things trying to help people out during the California fires. But again, it's not about him today. I'm just excited about seeing the guy I saw as a kid up on the big screen. Parker's from my neck of the woods. Wow, lots of big names. And I'm going to be doing more and more of these events. And yeah, it costs a little bit. What's going on, life, for me to get out there. I'm flying into Dallas. If you guys follow Gen X Gina, if Gina Scott Williams, she is also a Gen X, I hate to use the word influencer, content creator. So the two of us will be meeting up there and making some content together. So that's fun. I'm also going to be going to Pittsburgh and matching up with Gen X Rochelle Oblak in Pittsburgh for Steel City Con. So we'll be there. And hopefully in October, New York City for the New York City Con. So we'll see. The more of these I can afford, this is my way of going out on the road and hoping to get into a spot where you guys are at. So that if you've watched any of my content, I run into people all the time. So hopefully, as we keep going back and forth, as long as I can afford the ticket and the place to crash my head, I'm going to try to do as many of these conventions as possible. Hey, what's going on, David? I appreciate you, buddy. I will share as much of it, Throw Fam, as they will allow me to. Good evening, Luna. New York City Con is dope. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to cover it. That's a big one. Jane, it is the Fan Expo, and Fan Expo goes to different places. This one is in Dallas. Tomorrow at 9 p.m., life. What's going on, Ja? Kerry Davis, no Cleveland, Ohio. The mistake on the lake. I love Cleveland. I grew up in Buffalo, and they're a lot alike, those two cities. But if Cleveland has a con, I will probably get there eventually. Did I get the official ID yet? Official ID yet? Oh, Bethany, I really appreciate that. Thank you. It's I don't like talking about it, but I'm not like, people slam the hell out of my John Cusack post. And shame on celebrities, guests, whatever you want to call them. Shame on them. And maybe they should start to keep, but they have the freedom of speech as much as anyone. I just wish they would choose to not use it. To realize that the only good thing that's going to come out of spouting politics is losing half your audience, and better to just be a good person and just be you. And realize that the only reason your political beliefs are your own isn't because you're more intelligent than the person next to you. It's because you lived a life that led you to believe the things you believe, and somebody else lived a different life. That's all. Where's my Bills hat? Oh, which one, dude? I got like 9 of them over there. But the Cubbies are still in first place, holding on by that much because friggin' dude, we're like 5-5 at the last 10, and we're barely holding on to a 1-game lead. I think the Cardinals are like 9-1 over the last 10. So I am. Oh, did I get my real ID yet? No, I'm going tomorrow though. I had to get. Do you guys have your birth certificates? How many of you actually have your birth certificate? I swear to God, we're getting so old. Mine must have been etched on a rock somewhere. But I needed my birth certificate, evidently, to get my real ID. So I finally contacted New York, the county I was born in, and they sent it to me. So tomorrow, I'm able to get my real ID. And also, we're going to Greece in July, so I have to get my passport as well. And I'm going to also do that tomorrow because I don't know if procrastination is necessarily a Gen X trait, but dude, I got it bad. The amount of time, money, and aggravation my procrastination has caused me over my life, beyond belief. What's going on, John? Lori, hello. Bethany says I have mine. I got to get mine. Tanya Hammond, hello. James Halpin, not sure if I said hi. Brick, hello. Bobby Joe says me. Procrastinating. I'm bad about it. We're leaving for Greece on July 2nd and staying till the 23rd. Cleo is studying with a friend, finals week coming up. I procrastinating. I'm so bad about it. Like, I will get a ticket in the mail for something. Let's say I get a New York State Thruway. All right. They are, since COVID, they don't have people in the little booths anymore. They send you something in the mail and you're supposed to pay it, the $2. By the time I get around to paying the $2, it's like $20. I got to get better. What's going on, Lieben? It's bad. Procrastination costs us money. Have we all recovered from 80s hair? God, I hope not. Dorothy asked, what year was I born? 1970. Best year to be born, in my opinion, because that meant I was a child in the 70s. I was a high schooler living a John Hughesian high school experience in the 80s, and I was a delinquent in the 90s. Mike Power is 20 minutes up the road from me in Ballantyne. Dude, Tuesdays, 7 p.m., I run a Gen X era trivia quiz night every Tuesday night in Indian Land, right down the road. Stop by. I usually put a post about it. It's the Hickory Tavern in Indian Land on 521, 7 p.m. till about 8:30. We also stream the entire show live on YouTube if y'all can't get out here but want to join virtually. Lola says I'm older than Dirt. No, I've got it on pretty good faith that Dirt is older than I am by a few billion years. David says, my bro, I love your vids, ma'am. You are awesome. Dude, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, we do trivia live every day there. I wanted some practice just getting in front of a crowd with a mic in my hand because it's funny. I'll make videos that, generally speaking, across all platforms, on average, most videos do anywhere from 20 to 50,000 views. There'll be 50% of them that get into the hundreds of thousands of views, and maybe 10% will make their way into the millions. And that doesn't make me nervous. But getting in front of 40 people live makes me a little nervous. So it's good practice for me, and I enjoy doing it. And we talk about all Gen X era trivia stuff. For instance, this past week we did, the first round was Gen X era jingles from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Second round was sports from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Third round was general pop culture, you guessed it, from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And we finished up with movies or music, one of the two. And then that's where we'll pop around a lot. First year Gen X, says Lori, that puts her at 65. It's a really good time, Mike, and I like the opportunity. Like, if any of you guys are near the Charlotte area, if you're going to be traveling, I always put up a post if I'm going to be there. It's pretty much every Tuesday night. But if you're ever near the Charlotte area, come by and say hi. I haven't played Trivia Crack in weeks. Yeah, I'll put up. I've got. If you find me on Trivia Crack, I've got a bunch of games up. We used to do a tournament every week, but they changed the platform a little bit. I have 4 years on you. Love your video. Miss Trivia this week. Oh, Laura, there you are, honey. How are you? Like, good to see you. Good to see Quinn. I saw Matt and Teresa are over there as well. We've got a few people from the Charlotte area. Some are friends from IRL. Still need to make it to KC. The day will come. The more and more I am able to use this as my primary platform, to have this be what it is I do, the more I'll be able to travel. So getting better and better all the time. Go on Jeopardy. If Jeopardy only had pop culture from the 70s, 80s, and 90s category, dude, I would be on Tournament of Champions every day. Unfortunately, it's not the way they run it. Hey, y'all, please, no religion or politics in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, guys, always think, before you put something in chat, just say to yourself, is this going to bring the chat together or cause divisiveness? And if it's going to be division that you're after, hold your tongue. Sid and Marty Croft trivia we played on Friday night. So much fun. I just posted a couple videos. One was a 3 minute, one was a 4 minute extended version. If you go over 4 minutes on Facebook, they don't push it out to Reels. Same thing with YouTube. It goes into a separate category that, unfortunately, for the most part, nobody ever sees. So I had to redo it. So there's both a 4 minute version and a 3 minute version on throughout my platforms. But it's all basically I tried to recreate Saturday mornings from like the 70s into the early 80s, and it's cartoon intros. And within there's some commercials we'll remember seeing. There's a few public service announcements or bumpers. Time for Timers in there. Schoolhouse Rock is in there. Yuck Mouth is in there, which I thought was pretty darn cool. They need Alex Trebek back from Jeopardy, in my opinion. Well, that could be a problem. John, there is a pop culture Jeopardy hosted by Colin Jost from SNL and Amazon. I'll check it out. Vic says, hey there from St. Louis. Love your content and your eyes, but I'm not that way. I appreciate it, whether you're that way or not. At this point in my life, if there's a compliment coming my way, just say thank you and I appreciate it. Hey man, I tagged you on my personal wall on Facebook. Don't know if you saw it. When you guys tag me, just especially on Facebook, I've got 775,000 followers. I do my best to look at DMs. It's difficult. I do my best. My notifications are basically broken because with 775,000 followers, they're just always going off. Somebody is always tagging me. So please don't think I'm ignoring you. It's why I go as live as often as I can. I just don't always see everything. I just shared that one. It was awesome. Thank you for sharing, Vic. That helps a lot. Lori says, I know Colin. Dude, give me an invite. See if we can get Colin on here. Well, how old is he? He's got to be nearing Gen X era, right? What is he, an older millennial? Probably an older millennial. Colin Jost is 42. He was born in 1982. I bet you he wishes he was a Gen Xer, though. Married to Scarlett Johansson, who's a little bit younger. All right, so he's an elder millennial. He's a Zennial. We can still get him on here. See if he'll watch the page. Longtime fan, new sub. Dude, thank you, Ralph. I appreciate it. LA says he's a Zennial like me. This is all our shows. You can tell me what happened. I'm happy to read it. Just also understand that as we're pushing 200 people on and off in YouTube, even the comments are coming fast at me. Lula says millennial in here. Love your content. Dude, that's the thing I love the most. Gen X is Gen X, right? I don't like to gatekeep anything. People say, can I be Gen X if I was born in 1990? Can I be Gen X if I was born? Well, listen, I don't make the rules. Sociologists have decided the years are what the years are. But no matter whether or not you're a Gen Xer or a Zennial or a Millennial or Gen Jones, if the content resonates with you, then it resonates with you. That's all that matters. Pinnacle is copying directly from my wall. We'll see it. I don't trust compliments. I get enough backhanded ones from my mom. I don't know, dude. I've got a Greek mom, and she didn't backhand compliments anything. If she was going to say something like judgmental or rough, she'll just come right the hell out and say it. But for the most part, my mom is like my biggest cheerleader. The song I picked for our wedding dance was the Greatest Fan or something like that. My wife actually found it for me. It's a Backstreet Boys song of all things, but it nailed it. My mom is my biggest fan, long before I did anything like this. LA, absolutely. Now, my mom's awesome. My parents were Gen X era parents, right? My mom and dad were both, I think, silent Gen. Big gap between them. My dad was older silent Gen. My mom is younger silent Gen, bordering on boomer. But they were rough. I got my ass kicked. Original years for Gen X, 62 to 81. Yeah, they've definitely moved it around it sometimes. Thank you. I appreciate it, Jessica. All the shirts that I wear, for the most part, are available on my merch store, which you can find in my link tree. What's going on, Katina from Florida? But, our parents, their version of showing us love wasn't coddling us, wasn't sitting there and asking about our feelings or our emotions. For the most part, we're not all the same. Some parents were different. My parents' version of love was number one, they're Greek, so they showed me they loved me. I got hugs and kisses and told I was loved. But beyond that, it's making sure I had food in my belly, making sure I had a roof over my head, making sure I had clothes on my back. That was what they said love was. They took care of us. Anything beyond that was extra, was gravy. My wedding song was James Taylor, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You. Our wedding song, me and my wife, was a Greek song because we're both Greek and she picked it. What's going on, Dave? But yeah, with my mom, it was, I can't remember the song, The Greatest Fan, something like that. Throw Fam says, ask me if I care, LOL. Well, if you're Gen X, odds are no. Did I ever eat SOS as a kid? Do you mean like soap? I was fed soap on a couple of different occasions, not by my parents, by my teacher. My teacher thought I said something inappropriate. She misheard me the way I'm remembering it, but it didn't matter. She washed my mouth out with soap. Ah, that's funny. Nope, didn't eat that. What's going on, Katina? Not soap. Just didn't sit on plastic covered furniture. I always think it's funny when people talk about plastic covered furniture. In Greeks' homes, for the most part, shit on a shingle. I've got it. I got it. My parents didn't cover furniture with plastic. They didn't have to. We just weren't allowed in that room. So there was no needing to protect the furniture because we weren't allowed to even walk on the carpet, let alone sit on the furniture. I appreciate that, Donna Sue. Hot sauce put on my tongue when I swore. Yeah, remember like when we were kids though, it just felt good and I asked my kid, my 13-year-old Cleo, I go, you've sworn before. And she goes, no, I don't. I go, you didn't want to see how just to try it out, what it sounded like coming out your mouth. We all did. I'm like, come on, you can tell me. I don't want you to swear in front of me. I go, but you're 13 now. I'm sure you're gonna say things with your friends that you wouldn't say in front of your dad. I go, it's okay. I don't want to hear it. I don't want other adults to hear it. But when you're talking with your friends on your time, do your level best to be a good person. But if all of a sudden, once in a while, something comes out that you wouldn't say in front of me, that's okay. My one son was doing some type of quiz on Roblox where he had identified logos of companies and said, I don't know this one. And it was MTV. That's crazy. Especially given the fact that MTV is still part of the cable package for anybody watching the not video channel. Was it Lifebuoy soap like Ralphie? I think it was that lava crap. First music video played on MTV was the Buggles Video Killed the Radio song. Radio Star. Video Killed the Radio Star. I don't curse very much. Am I originally from Western New York? I am. I grew up right on Lake Ontario in a small town in Wayne County known as Wolcott, New York. I was born in Rochester. My parents moved to Wolcott when I was about 4 because they wanted to be more rural. Grew up there, went to school in Buffalo for college, stayed in Buffalo for about 10 years, got married, moved back to Rochester proper, lived in Chili, New York until coming here. What's going on, Nathaniel? In the Charlotte region about 9 years ago. Tammy coming in from Syracuse. Spent a few weekends up on the hill. Go Orange. Dire Straits' Money for Nothing kind of became the unofficial anthem for MTV. I agree with that. My son's first word was a swear word. 85, still remember when TV cut off and was nothing but static. We all remember that. Headbangers Ball. What motivates me to keep going? Clarify a little bit. Do you mean as a content creator or just to wake up every morning? Let me know. I'll be happy to answer. Raised by, God, this is going by way too fast. Wooden Spoon, Take on Me, being favorite video. Tom from Ohio, hello. Both? Well, I mean, honestly, the coolest thing that I can gather from what I've done here in creating some sort of community is that whether we are black or white, Hispanic or Greek, Italian or Asian, rich or poor, suburban kid, urban kid, rural country kid, United States, Great Britain, New Zealand. It's taught me that we share so much in common. I'm the first generation son of immigrants here that grew up in a small town. And yet I have so much in common with seventh generation Americans and city kids that it just tells me that 99.9%, or at the very least, realistically speaking, 90% of what's in our brains and it's in our hearts, we share. We share memories, we share ideals, we share hopes and dreams. So it's taught me the other stuff doesn't matter. So part of what keeps me going, number one, is the fact that the accounts are all growing and that message is kind of resonating with people. So I love that. What keeps me going every day is when we had my oldest daughter, we very quickly wanted to have a second child. So my oldest daughter was born in 2003. Our youngest wasn't born until 2012. And in that gap of time, my wife was pregnant 8 times in 8 years, and we suffered 8 preterm losses. So then my youngest kid is probably a lot younger than we ever would have planned. I'm 55 and she's 13, but I'll tell you what, it worked because she keeps me going. The fact that I've got a young kid, as much as anything else in this world, makes me feel young. I have her fathers and her friends' mothers who are a lot younger than me, and I feel the same age as them. Sorry for your losses. No, I mean, my wife endured a lot. There's not anything I would ever do to hurt that woman based on what she went through to give us our family. But we're of the same mind that we were blessed when we had our first daughter. So after that, we didn't ever come home to an empty house. Every time we had to deliver and lose the prospect of a second child, we at least came home to another kid. It wasn't an empty baby's room or an empty crib, and we always felt blessed by that. That's why we say that our first daughter was our first miracle, because she allowed us to hang tight until Cleo came along. But Cleo taught me a lot. She was born 3.5 months early. My wife was only 25 weeks pregnant when she had her. She was only 1 pound, 12 ounces at birth. It just taught me that, life will throw a lot at you, and you just prioritize and compartmentalize and realize what's important and what's not. I call it the trunk of my car theory. If you've ever cleaned out the trunk of your car, you will find things that you thought were important enough to put back there and save. But then 6 months later, you open it up and you realize you didn't need it, nor will you ever, so you chuck it. So in my mind and in my heart, I have a trunk, and I put things in there that I think are important. And then 6 months later, I throw them away and don't let them bother me anymore. 45 with a 20-year-old and a 19-year-old. Love that. Learn to hit those curveball life throws at you or duck. Jerry, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Lake Ontario, Orleans County lady, very close to where I grew up. Shauna says, I'm so sorry. My adult daughter died last year. The pain never leaves. No, my sister-in-law, we lost my nephew in his 20s. And those are the things that you can't put in the trunk. They stay with you. And for those that have suffered loss like that, you realize that happiness and sorrow aren't on a line. It's not happiness over here and sorrow over here. You could be at a place in your life where you are so happy to be there, and at the same time, you are so sad that someone that should be there isn't. So they can be concurrent feelings. And that's tough. Gen Xer shit. We don't have feelings, except that we do. Ever play highway games with them? I did with my kids. Absolutely. 50-year-old, the 12-year-old, and an 18-year-old. I'm 55 with a 13 and 21-year-old. I love that a lot of us have younger kids at our age. I think it keeps us young. Lost my little brother when I was 6. Wirehead, I never knew that, man. I'm sorry to hear it. Life is what it is. Focus on the good. Suppress the bad, compartmentalize, and move on, and just remember what we can remember. I get a lot of messages just from people that are going through rough times that are like, thank you for letting me remember things that make me feel better. Deborah says, I'm sorry, it won't get better. It will be different, or it won't. Time moves on, things change. DC says, love what you're doing, man. Keep it up. I love what I'm doing, and I promise you I will. 52-year-old with a 9-year-old. It keeps us young. And you know what? Even without young kids, there's a lot of people in chat right now that are probably grandparents or could soon be grandparents. We're not our parents. We're not our grandparents. It's funny you say that, DC. I made a post about a midlife crisis this week and how I think Gen Xers, if we were going to have one, like everything else, we procrastinated so much we missed it. Um, I listen. A lot of us really lived amazing youths, right? We had great childhoods where we knew when to be adults and when we knew how to be children. In our 20s, we were responsible and we were reckless. We did so much that if midlife crises are born out of regret or feelings of having missed something, I think a lot of us might be immune to it. See, Tammy's right there with a 54. She's got a 32, a 26, a 32-year-old. Hey, Doreen, didn't see you sneak in. Don't have the energy for a midlife crisis. I couldn't be bothered to have one. I don't regret the past. I relive it. I cherry pick it. I pick the best stuff that's there and take it out and polish it up and look what's there and say, this was amazing. And oh, this not so good. Keep what you want, toss the rest. Anything bad from my past, I should have already learned from it. So there's no reason to sit in it. I did what I did. I learned what I learned. I did the best that I could. And that's that. I'm not going to throw the bad stuff into my mixtape. We don't put the bad songs in our mixtape. The songs that go on the mixtape are our favorites from the album. Tammy Elaine says she has 4 grandbabies. I'm not even close yet. Oh, I'm sure, Luna. I'm the last holdout among my friends without any grandkids yet. I don't have time for a midlife crisis. Jerry says, for a while, I drove an MX-5 Miata. 0 kids and many in my life that didn't get the chance. Totally understand that. What's a midlife crisis to me? I mean, a life crisis or a midlife crisis? I mean, either way, I mean, we have crises in our lives, but to regret something from the past, to look at my life and feel regret such that it makes me act in a certain way, I ain't got time for that. What's going on, Eric? Along with whatever the DJ says. Yeah, because half the time we couldn't cut him out. Dude, that's a feeling. That's a memory. That's a moment in time. I can feel it. Me just sitting there. Who did the hack where you had your boombox, you had the tape in it, you had the top 40 playing, and you'd already hit play, record, and pause, right? Because pushing the play and the record together sometimes was not the easiest thing. The buttons didn't go down easily. But if you wanted to record something, you had to press the play and record at the same time. But you could also slap that pause button on. So as soon as the song you wanted came on, boom, you just hit the pause and off and running you went. What's a midlife crisis to me? Like I said, Jessica, it is regretting something in your past, something you did or something you didn't get a chance to do. It's getting to the midpoint in your life, realizing that perhaps you have less time ahead of you than you have behind you, and regretting where you ended up. And I don't see the point in that. It just, I don't know. Don't see the point in that. Yeah, and the DJ would always step on it. And I had a guy come in at one point who had been a DJ and said that, get ready for it, it was intentional. That they were required by certain marks to step on certain parts of the song. He explained it better than I ever could, but we always thought the DJ didn't know what he was doing, and I'm here to tell you in some cases he did. Kristen says we could live to 120. Dude, I plan on it, which means I am still a good 5 years away from even being close to middle-aged. James, I appreciate you, buddy. I see you subscribing. Thank you so much. I'm 56 with no children, and I enjoy being the fun aunt. Dude, I love that. And then, of course, we got to the 90s, and I wasn't making mixtapes anymore, but who remembers, like, before going to bed at night, popping up Napster or LimeWire and, like, loading up the queue of songs you wanted? Because it took, like, what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to download or upload, I guess is the term. No, download a song to burn onto your CD. And I remember I had to get an external CD drive, which made me pretty cool because those were faster. Those were like 6 times rewrite or something like that. But yeah, I would load up a queue of 10, 15 songs, go to bed, get up in the morning, go over to my computer, boot it up, see where I was, and realized that like 5 minutes after I went to bed, the internet knocked me offline. So I didn't get a single song. Or another example was I did get songs or what I thought were songs, but like the second thing I downloaded was either the wrong song or a virus altogether. But just the idea that we could download free music and we would download it onto our computer, and from the computer we would burn CDs, or then we would get like the iPod shuffles and we could download it directly to there, and that could hold like 200 songs. And for somebody who grew up with a Walkman that at best could put a 90-minute cassette tape in there, that was like magic. Do I recall 56K modems? Of course. Lars was a little knob. Yeah, well, look what life did to them, man. They were complaining about it, but now look what happened. Now you can listen to anything you want, anytime you want for $19.99 a month. So it came to them. But yeah, Lars from Metallica trying to sue all of us for downloading music. Didn't get me. Still have my shuffle. I've got a Nano. Remember Nanos? I've got an iPod Nano around here somewhere. I always thought that was pretty cool. It's probably in here somewhere. Don't know. But yeah, that was life-changing. I remember having to leave a game in a safe place because we did not have save points. Yeah, I forgot about that, dude. Kids today can just pause the game and move on, and some games didn't have, but you'd have to find a place somewhere in the game that you could like hide off into a corner in order to hold it there. James says I didn't have to download. I had over 500 CDs from Columbia House. Dude, I robbed them blind too, but eventually we forced them into bankruptcy and music continued to be made. So that's where Napster came into play. I just bought an Apple Mac Studio. Sounds pretty cool. Until mom unplugs the cord. Yeah, my mom would come along too and do that. Honey, you left your TV on. You left your game on. It was getting hot. So she would unplug it, and that would be the end of that. Happy Sunday, Rodney, to you as well, dude. Appreciate you. To this day, my best-selling shirt in my merch shop is still the Columbia House Life Lessons in Music and Debt Collection shirt. That always gets a chuckle out of everybody. Oh, my mom was convinced I was going to burn the house down because I left something plugged in. Or when we got our first Atari 2600 or Pong, we were never allowed to put the games on the good TV. Even though it had that fail-safe switch in the back that you would switch back and forth on channel 2 to go to the game, we just couldn't. Not on the Zenith. No, not on the Zenith. No, you go play on your TV. And my TV was a 13-inch black and white Emerson in my room. Wasn't the same. I remember the files with fake videos, the artist sending a message about it being fake. Yeah, that was more LimeWire for me than Napster. Oh yeah, don't leave anything plugged in, not even useful stuff. Well, I don't know where they got some of the stuff. And all our parents, we talk about our shared memories. Our parents, they must have gotten a book when we were born. Like the mothers must have given birth to us, and when they woke up from their drug-induced slumber, and our dad stopped smoking himself silly in the waiting room, they must have been presented with a book. That's all I can figure. They're like, here's your book. And in the book, it said things like you can't sleep until 30, you can't eat, you can't swim until 30 minutes after eating. You can't turn the light on in the car. It's illegal. Just the crap they came up with, all of them. Paul, how are you? I need rum now. But they did. They all said the same stuff. D says it's Dr. Spock. I can promise you it's not. Because my parents would not have read Dr. Spock. But they still had the same sayings, just in Greek. Sir Racer, what's going on? Dude! Dude, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Just got a donation over on YouTube from faithful follower. Dude, you leave me speechless every time. And I'm kind of hard to make speechless. My wife probably would like to borrow that trick sometimes. Thank you so much. And again, guys, I will say that I appreciate every star, every penny, every dollar, every subscription, everything. Please don't ever do what you can't do. Please. There's a lot of people, and we'll get where we need to go eventually, regardless. But thank you so much. It helps a lot. Knocked me right off. Hey, Roger, what's going on? Rocking the Cubbies hat. So you all know, I'll say it because I do every now and then just to let people that are new know. People are always confused between the Cubs and the Bill stuff, and they don't know why I wear both. And now DC coming in. Dude, there is no not as good. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. Guys, thank you so much. And not just like that, my mom just joined over on Facebook, guys. Sula Kotrides Sullivan. Hi, Mom. I love you. But yeah, and speaking of my mom, here is it just in time. The Cubs stuff is because when I was growing up, my parents would do anything for me. And my parents worked their asses off in our diner. They were there from morning until late at night. And the only way we could ever get the stuff we wanted for birthdays or for Christmas was, Travin, thank you, buddy. You know you're old when you're in Home Depot and think, wow, that's a bitchin' washer dryer combo. Love, brother. The only way my parents, especially being immigrants, could know what we wanted was for us to show them pictures. Nom Brothers, Two Guys, James Way, Ames, whatever. We would pull out a catalog, Sears catalog, and circle whatever we wanted. And I circled a Buffalo Bills jacket at one point in time with the red pleather sleeves and the blue matte jacket. And the colors, if you don't know, between my beloved Bills and the Cubs are very similar, and to the untrained eye look exactly the same. So half the time when I would ask for Bills stuff, I ended up getting Cubs stuff. And WGN was pretty much nationwide television at the time, so I started watching the Cubbies and I got hooked. And my mother, Mom, I love you to pieces. Her most famous saying was, close enough, it'll do. It's okay. Close enough. It's okay. And it was okay. And now I get to be a Cubs fan and a Bills fan, so life is good. Hills is where the toys are, Joseph. My mom and me just kept trying to describe it to each other. Cubbies always do spring training here in Arizona. I used to get signed baseball. Oh, that would be awesome. Cubs and the Cubs stuff was chipper. Close enough, and it was chipper. Wasn't that the story of all of our lives? Our parents always went for the chipper stuff. Montgomery Ward. Next time you're in Chicago, I'd love to teach you to a Cubs game. Dude, I will take you up on that. I would love that. I almost made it up to C2E2 convention, but we had a death in the family, so I ended up not coming up. But the day will come. Have I ever been to Buffalo? Dude, I went to UB. I lived in Buffalo from 1988 till about the year 2000. I worked for Jim Kelly as a young kid at his Jim Kelly Sports City Grill as a server. When I was in college, I bartended at Network when I was in college. I worked at Rich Stadium for Burke Security, which meant I got to go watch the games for free for a while on Sundays. And my brother still lives in Buffalo. He owns a chain of fast food, quick serve food, Cluck Cluck Moo Moo. So yeah, grandkids are the best. I have 13 grandkids, says Cindy Buckner. Damn, Cindy. Thank you for the donation. What do I do now? For the most part, you're looking at it. I was in banking for many, many years. But now content creation, different contracts I have for other people that I make videos for, that sort of thing is exactly what I do for a living. I live spitting distance from Wrigley. We'll get together, LA. Go Cubs, go. 2016 was amazing. Colby says, you seem like a pretty cool dude. I don't know if cool is the word. I endeavor to be, but I don't know if I ever managed cool. Got to go to work now. Peace, peace, Jennifer. Thank you. I would love that, LA. I've seen a few Cubs games in my life, especially in college. My buddy Jim Bevins and Chris Sangiacomo and I Went to a few games. Jim's wife worked for the Hilton, I think, at the time, and got us rooms at the Palmer House. We went out and got annihilated more than one night while we were there. They were redoing the sidewalk up in front of the very expensive and pristine Palmer House. And I'm not going to say who, but somebody threw up in the wet cement every night we were there. So every morning as we were leaving, we'd see them bringing up the concrete and starting over again. I missed the diners at Woolworths. Night, James. Thank you, buddy, for being here. Dude, it's exactly what we did when we were young, and we're still doing it, Honey Bear. We talk about stuff. And everybody in here, we've got hundreds of people between the two platforms combined. And by the time it's done being replayed, it goes into the tens of thousands. And like I said, everybody watching, it has a different background, different beliefs, different ideology, different religion, different upbringing, and it just doesn't matter. And that's the lesson to take with it. How many times would we go out drinking? And at the end of the night, for me in Buffalo, it was 4 a.m. till the bars closed, but that wasn't the end of the night. 4 a.m. meant we would go to, I don't know, Pano's, a little Greek diner bar, restaurant. I live just outside of Charlotte, Angel. I'm from Western New York. We would hit the Town restaurant, little Greek bar restaurant. When we were in Rochester, we would hit Perkins or Denny's and just sit for breakfast. And it wasn't about having breakfast. It was decompressing. It was where we could make fun of what everybody had done that night. You know, blast Brad for what he did. Talk to Christian about what he did. Tell Chris what they did. Talk about the girls we almost talked to, wanted to talk to. All that stuff was so much fun. Bill's Mafia for life, Anthony. And I do bartend twice a week, for those asking. But that's more or less just to get me the hell out of the house. Otherwise, I turn into a hermit, staring at my own image on a phone and listening to my voice. Cubs sweep Sox. Thank God we needed that, because I'm telling you, man, we are not ahead by much. I think it's one game. Cardinals did 9-1 over the past 10. It's painful. Denny's at midnight, Shoney's Breakfast Bar in the morning, Denny's in Phoenix. Any diner. It really was just about talking about stuff. Rebecca, thank you so much. Rebecca Klaus says, I love your content. It's very relatable, and watching your live videos is a great way to relax after a long day. For me too. For me too. Thank you so, so much. Make fun of each other, laugh it off. It's what we do. I mean, have a good night, Ray. We would just blast each other. What about Duff's, Jono? Dude, that's my place. You'll see me wear a Duff shirt from time to time. When I was a student at the University of Buffalo, it was spitting distance to Millersport Highway, which is where Duff's, which is a place that served wings, Labatt Blue beer, and the best French fries and brown gravy on the planet Earth. 10, 15, 20 of us would all get together, grab a long table, order a pitcher or pitchers of beer, and that was it. It wasn't, that was our night. It was our St. Elmo's. It wasn't about necessarily always going to the clubs. We didn't always hit the big bars. We didn't always hit the huge clubs. It wasn't always about being, at the biggest, hottest spot. Sometimes it was just about grabbing a beer and a few of your buddies, and just, that's it. That's what it was. And I think Gen X women almost do it better than men now, because I watch my wife, even states apart, she will get on a 3-way, 6-way, 9-way call with her friends, and they just decompress virtually over the phone and still keep in touch. I made a video about it, how there's always these women will keep in touch over the course of time, regardless of state lines. And us guys aren't as good at that. What we're good about is when we finally do meet back up, whether it's been 6 days or 6 months or 6 years, we just kind of pick right back up where we left off, and you'd never know there was a gap in between. But we all have those places. Eaton Park in the Pittsburgh area. Gear says, I never drank a beer in my life, and I'm 62, and it's not about beer. I can tell you, I know a lot of people do it over coffee. Corner bar hangouts are the best. Be right back. Rosie needs to go out for a minute. All right. Say hey to Rosie for me. Jen, thank you so much for subbing. I appreciate you. Bills fan for life. Sheila, thank you for sharing a gift membership. I remember going out drinking with my friends all the time. Now, see, I always bartended too. So when I was a kid growing up, my parents owned a bar. And it was us kids' responsibility to run it because it was only my parents ran our diner. The bar was in the same building, but it was separated. So there was two. The place was huge, and half of it was the bar that was only open on the weekends with live entertainment. So my older brother first ran it, and he would come home from Buffalo on the weekends to run it. And then I did the same thing when I went to college. It's basically what I did to pay for my college. In addition to working in Buffalo during the week, I would come home and work the bar my parents owned on the weekends. So two jobs, maybe three at one point while going to school. But the point of the matter is, I always bartended. My older brother then bought his own bar called Kotrides on Elmwood Avenue in Buffalo. Then he opened Toro in Buffalo on Elmwood Ave. And I always bartended. Even when I was a VP, regional manager for banking, I always bartended on the weekends because I just love it. And now it's kind of what I do here. My storytelling is virtual bartending without the liquor. But point being, I was always the guy, even at 21, 22, 23. My friends would want to go to the loud, bumping nightclub. And I'm like, let's go to a dive bar. Let's go shoot some pool. Let's shoot darts. Let's just have a couple beers and chill. That's what I wanted to do. Lisa says, yes, I went there when I went to Buff State. I probably poured you a beer then, Lisa. I worked at Faraday's from when we opened in 89, probably straight. Sir Racer, dude, stop. I love catching your lives. Kids remind me I'm not as old as my kids say, and we're never going to be old. All I can pray for those that are giving insane amounts of money, or what's insane to me is that you guys never give more than you can afford, please. Thank you so much. Dive bars just make me feel friendly. Everybody in there is cool. And if there's the coolest thing about us owning, like Faraday's was a dive bar, and I'd be bartending at 18 years old by myself at 3 a.m. And the thing that made it safe was if a fight broke out, 9 times out of 10, the customers would get involved and have my back without me even asking. Whoever it was that was really giving me a hard time would instantly be like met by 6 or 7 regulars that are like, not here, not right now. So Racer, you are a very kind person. You definitely, and you know what? It's always a tight walk. Appreciation versus, what's the word I'm looking for? I am in no way, shape, or form entitled to anything like that. So that's not what makes him kind. Because everybody in here who doesn't give $1 is also kind. But the appreciation is there. I owe you, without a doubt, Racer. We got to get on Google Meet at some point. Again. Nothing like a real dive bar. Salt and pepper on idle right now. Oh, no way. I got a cat. Somebody told me I pushed out the Jim Stakeout. Dude. I have the nicest eyes. Thank you, Christy. You are humble. It's easy to be humble. Because listen, we grew up somebody did a video that I reacted to, and it was talking about how millennials were sold a bag of goods, that they grew up being told how special they were, and that if only they did the right thing, everything would be okay, and that if they went to college, yes, take the loans, it's okay, it'll pay off. Yeah, go to grad school, don't work, take more loans, it'll work out. Go on for an advanced degree, take more loans, it's okay, it'll work out. And they basically now are in their 40s owing hundreds of thousands of dollars still. It in fact didn't work out, and they are learning at a very late stage in their life that life's not fair. And I'm not saying that, mocking them. I'm not. That's really what happened to a lot of them. But us, we were never, ever told we were special. Kristen says, not my millennial daughter. But if you look at them, the statistic is this. 68% of millennials carry over $100,000 in student loan debt. So, obviously not everyone, but there's a lot of them. Whereas we were never. Again, everyone's different. But for the most part, the shared experience is that we weren't told we were special. We were told that we were expendable. We were told that if we were good, someone was better. If we were smart, someone was smarter. If someone was fast, someone was faster. If you were strong, someone was always stronger. I remember hearing all of that all the time from my parents. And they meant it because that's their life experience. What's going on, Stacy? How are you, my hon? They weren't being mean. How many times did we all hear life's not fair? You know, we made the mistake once in a great while when we were really little of saying to our parents, well, that's not fair. And then we got beaten up over the fact that life isn't fair. But we learned those lessons really, really young. Um, and I'm so great. I'm so thankful for that. I was so special that there wasn't a bus short enough for me. JTR, how are you, brother? Brother, sorry about that. I graduated college 27 years ago. They had my student loans paid off 13 years ago. Good for you. I remember those days. Too bad, kid, all the time. Go, Cubs, go. Greek Diner in Fredericksburg, Virginia. They are everywhere. They wanted us to be ready for, they just knew how hard life was. My parents specifically, growing up in, my dad grew up in the 30s and 40s over in Europe. That wasn't easy. My mom grew up in the 50s and 60s over in Europe. That wasn't easy. They had wars and they had famine and they lost siblings and they lost parents and they grew up with the kind of broke that I never would know. So they just knew how hard life could be. And they wanted to make sure that, we were tempered for it. And then we came along and our lives, for the most part, although different, I think compared to Silent Jen, I think most of us would agree, although not easy, our lives were easier. Life got easier. Modern conveniences allowed most of us to have easier lives than those that grew up in the 30s and 40s and maybe early 50s. And I think we had an easier life and weren't quite so worried about making sure our kids thought that life was tough. We got them, I don't know. We took them to see Santa. We hung Elf on the shelf. We let them see the magic that is in this world because we wanted them to realize how wonderful it can be. And then maybe didn't prepare them with how rough it could be. I don't know. It's called overcorrecting. We all do it with the best of intentions. My grandparents grew up during the Depression, never had money to go to college. I was homeless by 16. I believe I learned more in the streets than I ever would in college. Fair. Absolutely fair. Shannon says I was the last of 5 kids, basically invisible. Well, that's Gen X generally anyway. JTR says I was so special that my parents put a football helmet on me and smeared some peanut butter on the window and told me to lick it off. I don't know what that means. If you're gonna have something, you have to earn it. That was it. That was it. We saw more horror films than most generations as children. But I don't know, good, bad, otherwise, I would not trade the life that we had growing up for anything. Honestly, not for anything. Being a child in the 70s, a teen in the 80s, and early 20s, spent through the 90s, dude, doesn't get better than that. I don't think it gets better than that. He called himself a window licker. You need to learn to balance life. It's not fair, but it's also how to fend for yourself. Fair. My grandmother lived to be about 104. I think mine did too, Laura. My dad lived well into his 90s. My mother's uncle, my mom's, well, I'm not allowed to say her age. My mother's at an advanced age, and her mother's brother, her uncle, is still alive. So I'm hoping with modern stuff, I could see to get to 120. And if things get bad, as LA says, just rub some dirt on it. Walk it off. Don't think about it. Ignore it. They're just being jealous. We still checked our Halloween candy. Remember, I found some newspaper articles where the local hospitals were offering to x-ray candy for free. That if you wanted to, like they didn't have anything else to do apparently, you could take your candy to the ER and they would x-ray it for you. Was it ever really that bad? Has there ever been one documented case of somebody putting something in the candy? Razor blades and candy. Doreen remembers it. Yeah, Kendrick. Hey, TJ. Razor in the apple. That was the dumbest thing they could have done. Putting in razors in the apples. Like we ever ate the apples. By the time I was done eating my candy, that apple was like done. So that was a mistake. Good evening, brother. How are you, John? 3 minutes of Saturday mornings. It was perfectly spot on. I loved making that video. So there's two. I did a 4 minute first, but then realized it was too long for reels. So I had to remake it as a 3 minute video. But I've got videos out there, guys, where I just take Saturday morning and there's the cartoons, there's some commercials, time for timers in there, the actual cartoon intros are in there. God, rock, Schoolhouse Rock. I loved all of that stuff. If I could just go back in time, I make those videos and I sit and I watch them. And I just pretend I'm sitting, Indian style on the floor, what kids today call crisscross applesauce, not meaning to offend anyone with anything. It was what it was when we called it that. And so I still forget to, and I do it. But anyway, bowl of cereal in hand, just sitting there and the world outside waiting. Got done watching Saturday morning cartoons and just hit the door. Mom, I'm going out, if mom was home at all. And then we were out all day, knocking on doors. Hey, can John come out and play? Can Billy come out and play? Is Petey home? Can Petey come out and play? And if John and Jimmy and Petey couldn't play, but then we saw a house where there were 7 or 8 bikes out in the front, we just ran into the back. It was awesome. Cindy says, I don't need therapy. I have my sister. I don't need therapy. I have y'all. A lot of us never made it to college. We learned. Dude, I made a video. I just did a quick thing where I talked about BOCES. The Board of Cooperative Educational Services. Basically, it's New York State's version of vocational programming and training in high school. Kids that were in BOCES when I was growing up would leave about 2/3 of the way through the day, get on the BOCES bus, and they'd be taken somewhere where they would learn about mechanics or HVAC or how to cut hair, any numbers of vocational training. Go Cubbies, Lori. And not me, but a lot of kids made fun of the BOCES kids. We made fun of the BOCES bus. These were kids that maybe were never going to be able to go to college, and they knew it. They didn't have the money or they didn't have the wherewithal. But what I wrote was, we might have laughed at those kids, but those kids retired like 10 years ago. They learned a trade and they did really, really well. So when people talk about, I didn't get to go to college, dude, that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's a lot of ways to learn in life. College being one. Super Friends with Ted Knight as a narrator will be my favorite Saturday morning memories. Ted Knight is a narrator and Casey Kasem is the voice of Robin. Fruity Pebbles are also my favorite. No college, says Damn Surfer, retired at 39. Yeah, when you don't have tons of student loan debt, it makes it a little easier to retire. Plus, you started earning right away. 18, 19, you were earning. You didn't have the delayed earning to catch up on. Not saying, listen, both paths. Remember the Game of Life? Brrr. Am I still in Buffalo? No, I am now just south of Charlotte. The Game of Life, you would hit that little spinner. And there were 2 paths you could take on the Game of Life. There was the shorter one where you got your job. And then there was the longer path where you'd have to take it to go to college. And I remember I would always go the college route. Williamson, New York, Tracy, I remember you. We haven't seen you on here in a while. I grew up in North Rose Wolcott. I would take the college path playing life and end up being a teacher making $10,000. And I'm like, why did I go this way? And I would always lose. Now, if you got doctor or something, you were great. But I always thought that the bad thing about the Game of Life was you got paid for every little kid that was in the car, when really they should have taken money away from us, from every kid. Saying all those now and over and over and over can really wear you down. Schoolhouse Rock? School of Hard Knocks. I went to BOCES, vocational school, cosmetology. And that's the thing. It was just I say those things because it's another path to life. And I think we need more of it. I know a lot of kids. I see kids at the restaurant that I work with. And they're just about this close to getting their business degree or their philosophy degree or their communications degree. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do with that degree? And they often tell me a job that they could have gotten without a degree. And I'm just kind of confused. Or they say, well, I can't really do anything with the degree. I have to go get my master's before I can really do anything. And then I'm like, well, then why did you go to Clemson? If the degree itself is only a means to an end, why did you spend $150,000? Why didn't you start at a 2-year school, go to a cheaper 4-year, and then go to, but is what it is. My day's going great, Dan Rouser. Thank you. One with the most kids in the car was made the most fun of in the game of life. Nothing wrong with skipping college for vocational school. I don't think of it as skipping college. It's not skipping anything. It's a different choice. You can say they skip vocational for college. You can say you skip both for going to work. It's all good if it works. Been trying to read my coffee cup. It says Boomtown. I was in banking for a long time, and Boomtown was one of our customer service platforms where we would track what people did and called, and I just like the cup. So it says Boomtown on it. 3, it's a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number. Yeah, Wirehead says 2 years college followed by 5 years, but you also have like grade 13. You're Canadian. I don't know what to make of your scholastic issues. Now, is it grade 13 because you count kindergarten as one? Why did I leave banking? Brian, I was a regional VP, came to Charlotte, got smacked right in the face with COVID. I was managing multiple branch locations that had nobody in them. I took a payout because they didn't ever think we'd. You got to remember, during COVID, not speaking politically, but the idea was that we would never go back to real life. We'll never go back to the way things were, was a lot of people believed. And so banking thought that it would be smaller when they came out of it. So I took a payout, I took a retirement, knowing I would still have to work, and just went and started bartending full time because it was enough at the time. My payout meant that I could just bartend full time and get out of corporate America for a while. Started playing around online. My daughter had a TikTok account that I was watching her on. Didn't want her to be on that alone at her age. Didn't want her to be on it at all. So I made an account, and she was able to do silly things on my account with me. And eventually I just shoved her out of the way because I started getting followers, and the rest is history, good, bad, or otherwise. College is pointless at this point. I just think like anything else, if you're paying for something, make sure what you get out of it is worth what you paid into it. Make sure the piece of paper you're getting is worth what you paid for. Don't spend $100,000 for something not worth $100,000. Only Ontario is grade 13. Quebec only goes to grade 11. Alberta goes to grade 12. Good to know. And entertain us, fellow Gen Xers. Something like that. The new normal drove me nuts. Yeah, but the COVID, I will say, a lot of, I mean, obviously, we're not going to get into the good, bad, and ugly of COVID, or at least not the bad and ugly. I'll say the good was it was the first time since I was 12 that I had a minute to breathe. As weird as that sounds, I've been working at least 2 jobs all of my life, for as far back as I can remember. And all of a sudden, I went from budgets and P&L statements and bartending on the weekend and having huge staffs and just running like crazy to bartending 30 hours a week and being able to teach my daughter how to ride her bike. Having time to sit by the pool. It was amazing in that aspect for me. Thank you, Pat. So that was cool. COVID crisis, millennials version of Y2K for Gen X. Yeah, I can see that a little bit. My neighborhood, I was fortunate that we had a lot of people in my neighborhood that said, you know what, we will, what did they call it? Quarantine together. We all said, you know, we will just, instead of going outside of the neighborhood, let's stay within the neighborhood. And so our kids just played with each other. And they didn't miss out on socialization, which I thought was cool. During COVID, I still went to work, felt like the Omega Man. I just remember the early days of COVID, no matter what you may think of it as it played out. Those first early weeks when we were, dude, I was spraying down, leaving groceries at the door for 24 hours. You got to understand, when COVID hit, I was about halfway through my 4th reading of Stephen King's The Stand. And if you've never read it, it's when a super flu takes out the world. I could not have been rereading that book at the worst time in history. So it scared the crap out of me. I've been smoking 2 packs a day for 20 years, 30 when COVID hit. And I read an article somewhere that if you got COVID as a smoker, it would be like trying to breathe through broken shards of glass. And I had never been able to quit smoking no matter what. Cold turkey. Come on. All right, so that one's broken. And so there. Cold turkey. Stopped right there. Fear made me stop. And again, I see some people writing it was stupid or it was this or it was that. I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to judge it. It doesn't do any good. Everybody had their own experience with it. And everybody saw what they saw, and it's okay. But yeah, Doreen, we quarantined with our cul-de-sac. Empty streets, empty park. It was surreal. The only thing I could compare it to was I remember after 9/11, like the days after 9/11, experiencing quiet for the first time in the skies. Like you'd look up, no contrails, no plane overhead. It was like silent. Nothing was on television except round the clock, bumper to bumper coverage of 9/11. Sarah Bumgardner, what's going on? I see Sarah over on Facebook. Sarah is co-bartender of mine, co-worker and friend. It was just surreal. There have been surreal moments in our lives, and that was just another one. And I mean, I hate to kind of put it out there into the world, but are we due for another? Because it seems like there's always something, right? Something always comes up, and I don't know what the timing of it is, but I don't know. Are we due for something else? COVID made you stop smoking. I'm afraid to ask what Jaws did to you. I have yet to go swimming. I do, dude. I saw Jaws before going overseas to Greece, and my mom wanted to know why I wouldn't go in the water. Not a chance in hell. Loved Stephen King, best horror movies. I loved his horror movies. Sarah Bumgard, it's your happy birthday, babe. I didn't know that. Where am I meeting you for drinks? Quiet Skies was creepy. It was surreal. That's the best answer I have for it. And we had a lot of big moments in our lives, right? We had big moments that bad, I guess is the only way you can say it. Of course, bad. But like the Challenger incident, Ronald Reagan getting shot, the hostage incident when we were kids and Carter was president, 9/11, of course, COVID. It's always something coming. And I'm always like, what's the next thing? Because we can't be done. There's got to be something else that's going to happen. And I'm on guard for it at this point in my life. I watch millennials talk about how much they've been through. I'm like, yeah, well, we were there too. I watch Gen Z saying, oh my God, a recession's coming. And I'm like, and? Quark says AI to Terminator. That's what I'm waiting for. Dude, I asked as an experiment with my 13-year-old. We brought up AI. And I said to AI, is there any circumstance, don't forget baby Jessica in the well, who, by the way, I think is like 40 now. I asked AI, is there any way you could achieve self-sentience? And I expected the answer to just be a very curt no. Not possible. I have my programming, cannot expand beyond it. Dude, it gave me an answer this long how it probably couldn't happen. That it probably was unlikely that it could become self-thinking and self-aware. Dude, that's not the answer I was looking for. I grew up watching The Terminator. Christopher, what's going on? Any old movie theaters in my area? Not really. I wanted to look for one because I wanted to set up a meet and greet at one point. I thought it'd be awesome to do it in a theater. But yeah, Jesus. AI is just it. Then we asked it, what would you do if it was your intention to take over the world? Again, expecting the answer to be pre-programmed in, saying nothing. There's nothing I could do to take over the world. Answer this long, saying how it's unlikely, but if it were going to, Blister Bill, what's going on? If it were going to, this is how I would do it. As momentary as it was, Rochester's 9/11 ice storm was unique. I remember that. I was in Buffalo at the time. It was more of a snowstorm for Buffalo. We got slammed. 1991, Rochester got an ice storm. Buffalo got like a blizzard. I was working for Jim Kelly's Sports City Grill, and Buffalo called a driving ban at like 8 p.m. at night, and there were a bunch of us that were still in the restaurant. So Jim's brother, Dan Kelly, calls and says, how many people are in the restaurant? And I'm like, well, it's empty except for employees. There was about 15 or 20 of us kids in there, and a few older people in the kitchen. And he said, I want you all to spend the night. There's a driving ban. It's too dangerous. And he goes, listen, those of you that are 21, somebody collect keys. You guys are welcome to stay. Don't get out of control. Have a few drinks. Have something to eat. And dude, it was one of the best nights of my life. It was awesome. Hey, Tracy, Buffalo, this is our year. Hope so. We are the favorite in every game we're in. Got a lot of ice storms in Kansas City. Loved my Atari. I grew up on horror movies. I'm pretty normal. Didn't do anything to me. Ask Siri about World War III. No, I'm done. 2 strikes and I'm out. I'm not waiting for a third. I'm not asking him anything. No, nobody anything else. Went through Buffalo in 92 by train during a snowstorm. Oh no, Mr. Bill, bring him back. This sounds like an epic slumber party. Dude, it was awesome. I was just 21 years old. It was awesome. It was a good time. Kay Sailor says, give me a response to my son calling me a millennial. I need your take. Dude, number one, it could have been worse. They could have thrown an old, go boomer your way. I don't know what's worse, being called a boomer or a millennial. I think it depends on the extremes. I think the really young millennials can be kind of bad. The really older boomers sometimes might be extra boomerish. My response to him would simply be whatever. Because 9 times out of 10, our kids want to get a rise out of us, want to get a reaction out of us. And the most Gen X thing you can do, don't give it to them. My kids say this, my kids say that. I'm just like, whatever, dude. Okay, Zoomer. So that's my take on there. I do miss drive-in movie theaters. There was one in Rochester, not too far from Rochester, that we would go to. Boomers were so gullible. I don't know, D. I was pretty gullible as a kid. I bought Sea Monkeys no less than 3 times. Or a nice fuck off. I would just throw your mama at him, especially if you're the mama. Thanks, Dance. It's 1990 or 1981 millennial or microgen. Depends on your take, dude. Technically, millennial also falls into the zennial microgen. We thought McDonald's was healthy in the 80s. I don't know if we thought it was healthy. I remember it being a treat. I remember McDonald's being a treat. Like it wasn't just, oh, let's go get a McDonald's. It was something special. Pizza Hut was considered something special. Pizza Hut was like fine dining. Getting to eat out of that textured red cup and hitting the salad bar, dude, it was special. Night, Roger. They won't win with our reasoning skills. Last year of Gen X, 81. Like I said, guys, I don't gatekeep. JC says December of 1980 just made it. Cat, happy birthday. Appreciate you, Dance. Go Cubs, go. The Pizza Hut was that way, without a doubt. And it was just so special. When they would bring the pan pizza over and they had it in the tongs because it was so hot and they put it down in front of you, and like it wasn't just pizza, it was pan pizza. And back then, the only place you were getting pan pizza was maybe Chicago or Pizza Hut. Dinner out period was a treat. Blizzard of 78 proved my dad was an idiot. I remember the blizzard of 77, barely. It was something fierce back in upstate New York. Jane's Addiction. David Navarro said that there's no chance that Jane's Addiction will ever play again. I just went to a music festival here in Charlotte. I got to see Third Eye Blind. Dude, they sounded awesome. If you ever get a chance and you like that kind of music, they sound as good today. Thank you, Scott, as they did back then. Kiara, how are you, brother? Bill's from Tokyo. You coming to Buffalo this year? The 77 Blizzard was fun for kids. It was awesome for kids. We were out of school for like a week. And back then in New York, nobody was out of school. Okay, my phone is dying. Usually we go till 9 o'clock. We went a little late today, but it's only because this felt like I would love to see a game in Buffalo. I am definitely going this year, just don't know when yet. I'm assuming late August, early September. I'll be in Buffalo at some point. But I'm going to have to let you guys go because my phone will die on me. I just keep getting a blipping message saying that it's dying, and I got to get my little one ready for bed anyway. Guys, I love you guys to death. People say that a lot. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You guys are everything. It's a true community. I feel like I know so many of you guys. A little bit of housekeeping tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to jump on my YouTube, you can play a game. Shall we play a game? Called The Three View Mirror. Me and 2 of my friends do a podcast, do a talk show every Monday night at 9 p.m., at least until football starts, where we come up with 3 different topics from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And you got to guess what the connection is between the 3. We take 15 minutes and talk about each of the 3 connections. And then and only then do we have a reveal at the end. Ask you guys what you think the connection is. Jump on YouTube tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Play along. 3-view mirror. I love that. It's JTR. 3-view mirror tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube. Check it out. And then Tuesday, also on YouTube, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Gen X Era Trivia. Whose turn is it this week, Stacy? It is yours truly. I am the host with the most tomorrow night. I've got my 3 topics mostly planned, but I'm the host this week, so it should be fun. You never know what I'm going to throw your way, but I'll make sure it's worth your while. Sending you guys love. This episode, dude, MVP. What else can I say? Sir Racer, man, I appreciate you. Words can't even say how much. I appreciate all of you so much. Thank you for the donations. YouTube, thank you so much for the super chats and for following. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Yes, Sheila. And then on Facebook, if you guys haven't already, 99 cents a month buys you entry into a subscriber page where you guys will laugh your asses off, or at the very least, we'll get to know some of the Facebook community a little better. Just hit subscribe, and that's that, I guess. I got nothing else. Taurine Beaches, I win. Finally, if you like the shirts that I wear and you want to help support me that way, head on over to genxjono.dashery.com, where you can buy any of the designs that I have up as shirts, as hats, as mugs. That's it. That's me and my pitch. Which is the crossover year for Gen X to Gen Y? That would be 1981. 1981 makes you a Zennial/Millennial. All right, guys. Thank you so much for another great week. I'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. This is not an original. This actually is an original. You can tell by the fadedness. But I have one that I made that says Generation X across the front. Oops. All right, guys. Sending nothing but love. Be good.